Good morning. How's everybody doing today? Bear with me. We had some technical difficulties this morning, so I'm operating from a different location, kind of, sort of thing. So give me 1 second. And does everybody want?
That was a second. A few seconds.
We're not friends. All right. Where you go? All right, that's good. Admit everybody. All right, good morning. So we are, would you mind trying to man that slightly, kind of, sort of? Yes, so bear with me. Sometimes things get thrown for a loop. So we're operating just a little differently because the computer that's normally on the stand there, we can't watch the screen because the screen's not hooked up. So we're doing it based on the TV. So happy Tuesday. Hope everybody's having a great day, great week, great month. We're almost at the end of April. Already? We're almost into May. Who here has had an amazing April? Raise your hand if you had an amazing April. Put your damn hand up. I know you put at least 2 listings on the market, right? So for somebody who's slowing down to put listings, how many did you put on? 2? Yeah. No, any contracts? Yeah, and contracts too. For somebody who's slowing down and trying not to do as much, 2 listings on the market and a couple contracts, that's pretty awesome. So whether you're new, whether you're experienced, I saw a lot of hands go up. I just wanted to kind of briefly talk about a few things, and we're going to talk about the market today. We're going to talk about what you're hearing. I want to give you guys some talking points to have with your consumers, going over what's in the news, because we're going to hear everything. You heard this morning, you're going to hear everything. The market's crashing. We're in a bubble, all this crazy stuff. So we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But we have Paramount Title in. Did you want to come on up and got a microphone?
Yeah, let's do this real quick. I think
we'll get some.
That works.
This you do have to hold pretty close, like right up to your mouth to be able to speak. So go right ahead.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Megan, who all don't know. I'm a closer downstairs in Apollo Beach. I just wanted to come and introduce ourselves. We are looking for a marketing rep since Tiffany is pursuing her career as a real estate agent. So if you know anybody or have any suggestions, we're welcome for them. We are going to send out a poll to you. I'm going to have Jimmy send it out after the meeting since we didn't have it set up before. On any classes you would like to take to know title better. We have a couple suggestions, and if you have any suggestions, it would be great. The couple we have is surveys, if you want to know about more surveys, Title 101, FERPTA, probate. I just had a crazy probate file, or like any suggestions you guys want to know about. We're happy to help and train you guys in any way that we can on the title end. And if you have any questions for me, I am a closer downstairs. You can just walk in, you can talk to me, you can shoot me an email. I'm here to help.
Yeah, awesome. So we are, just as most of you know, we are partnered with Paramount Title. They are a partner of ours. Beggins Enterprises owns a portion of the title company. So it is in the company's best interest monetarily to use that company, but it's also in the company's best interest to make sure that Paramount Title is providing the elite top level service that they can. So if you have any feedback in any way, shape, or form regarding a closing, regarding Megan and what she's doing or how she's doing, please, that's what we're all here for. There's no hard feelings, no hurt feelings. You have a job to do, they have a job to do, and our job is to make sure that our consumers have the most amazing experience through their closing, whether it's a buyer or seller possible. So if there's something that's getting in the way of that, let us know. If you don't want to reach out to them, reach out to me. I'll take care of it. We'll spearhead that and we'll put that out. But also they want to provide some more value. So we're going to send out some information asking what kind of trainings, what kind of topics or anything specifically that you want to do more of, so we can get some more interaction there.
Well, I mean, just for the people that we have in here right now, is there anything specific that you would like to see on the title standpoint for training? I mean, is there anything that, anybody online or who we have in the room right here? I mean, we have, almost 200 agents all together. So obviously the poll will still go out, but for the ones that are showing up online and in here, anything that really you would love to see a little bit more? To learn a little bit more on the title side?
Anybody? No, nothing at the moment. Okay. Sounds good. Does anybody have any feedback they wanted to share while we're right here with Paramount Title? Anything at all that you think would be beneficial for your consumers through the title company? No? Yes, ma'am.
think it would be helpful, and I'm sure you've done this before too, but like the time frame of when you get a file and like what the steps are and how the interactions occur, if there's a lender involved and so on and so forth, if there's a estoppel, if there's not, blah, 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 just stuff like that. I think that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Cool. That's good. Awesome. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Would you, so we're going to jump into a topic and talk about, is the market crashing? Is the market crashing? Should I wait for the market to crash? What is going on right now in the market? Is there a bubble? It's complicated. It's complex. So is the housing market going to crash? We're going to talk about some different points here. I want you all to focus on one of them that resonates most with you. It doesn't matter which one it is, one or two of them that resonate with you. Take these and find a way to expand it. Go Google it, go look it up to expand that thought a little bit more so you can sound like the expert on that specific topic or part of the market. Whenever somebody has a question, is the market crashing? Is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? What does that mean for me? Take the one that you feel is going to be most beneficial to you, that you feel you can articulate to a consumer. And let's talk about that a little bit more. So that way, whenever something comes up, what's going on in the market's crazy, the market's this, the market's complex. Let me tell you a little bit more why. It's competitive. Let me show you why. It's competitive, it's complex, and it's complicated. Whatever of those, let's get some of these topics out. So we're going to go bullet points and just kind of talk about these. And I want some input on this from you if you have anything that you've seen. So Fannie Mae's Economic and Strategic Research Group said it expects housing activity to moderate from 2021 highs. Just means they expect it to simmer down a little bit, which is what most everybody's expecting anyway. The group predicts single-family homes to decline 2.4% in 2022. Is that a crash? Declining 2.4% single-family homes in 2022, a slightly steeper drop than they previously thought of 1.2. Okay, so those home values that drop 2.4% as opposed to 1.2% due to constraints associated with rising mortgage rates. So basically, because rates went up a little bit more than they expected, they were expecting rates to go from the 3s into the 4s, maybe into the low 5s, and now they're the mid 5s, high 5s, getting closer to the 6s. That's something that has affected the amount of buyers. Like Jeff said at the end of the meeting, if you have buyers, there's going to be buyers that are just pushed out of the market because of the rates. I can't afford what I need. There's going to be buyers that are priced out because of pricing. I could afford a $350,000 home at a 4.5% interest rate, but at a 5.5 or 6% interest rate, I can't afford that same home, which means I can't get the home that I want. I'm not willing to settle on either one of them. And that's fine. That's okay. You just need to stay top of mind with them and continue to chat with them. So that's one thing. This is directly from Fannie Mae. And there's a lot of stats here from different groups. The group currently projects home price growth at 7.6% in 2022, down from last year's record-setting 17.3%. That's nationwide. Our average was about 18% nationwide, and they're expecting it to slow down to 7%. What did Tampa Bay experience last year, year over year? 30%. What was the highest in the nation? 32.9, 33%. Tampa Bay was number 2 or 3 for highest appreciation for year over year, 30%. So if the national market is going to drop from 17% appreciation year over year to 7% year over year, that's a 10% drop. Do you think that we might experience a 10% drop as well? So realistically, maybe in 20s. I personally, my crystal ball has been speaking to me lately. It was broke, but now I got a couple. I would probably anticipate something around 15 to 20% in our areas. Still anticipate some growth. But what's a normal inflationary market? What's a normal appreciation market? 3 to 5, 4.5, 5, 3 to 5%. So even if we're appreciating at 7.6%, we're still above the norm, still above average. That means that home values are going to continue to appreciate, not completely crash and drop. So the home values just will not appreciate as quickly. What does that mean for your homeowners? That means for a homeowner that owns a home now, if they want to wait, okay. What does it mean let's look at what it means for you when you're buying. That's going to be the bigger conversation. What does it mean for you to buy? If interest rates go up another 0.5% or 1%, what does that mean for you buying? So right now, their appreciation might offset that payment because of interest. But later on this year and into early next year, that same appreciation, if it goes to 7%, will not offset the payment difference. 7% more on a or 7% on a $500,000 house is how much? $30,000. That's $150 a month. That might come close to a 1% interest rate increase. It might come close. It's going to be very, very close. But right now, when they're getting 20% to 30% year over year, if they put that same 20% appreciation down on the next home, that will make up for that $150 increase in the payment. If they had 20% appreciation on a $500,000 home, that's $100,000, right? I'll say yes. It's simple math.
Yes.
That's not an opinion. That's a fact. Don't be
Yes.
afraid to shake your head. I can't call you out if you say yes. 20% of 500 is 100,000. So that's $100,000. That means now if they took that whole $100,000 and put that down on their next home payment, that means that their payment would be lowered by like $600 a month. Okay, that offsets the increase in the interest and would help them out with their payment a little bit. So just there's different conversations to have. So really, it's about looking forward to what would they inherently buy. Job growth. You don't hear people talking about this much anymore. Why? Because it's not an election year. But you're not hearing much about jobs. Jobs increased. So job growth in the United States blew past expectations in January as the economy brushed off a record-breaking surge in COVID cases in the beginning of January. So job growth continues to increase. More people are getting jobs. More people are employed. Unemployment ticked up slightly to 4%. I think it was at 3.7 or 3.8. It went up to 4%. But more people are getting jobs. A few people lost them, but more people are getting them than are losing them. What does that mean for the economy? More people have jobs, more people have income. It's still strong. It's not going to be a hindrance on the economy. So if the real estate market is still appreciating in the economy, people are still getting jobs and earning income, those are good signs. It's not like things are completely going and crashing down like everybody thinks. There's another stat further on you're going to see. It says that 77% of homeowners are anticipating a bubble pop, a bubble crash. 77% of them. That's 3/4 of the people that they surveyed think that there is a bubble and a market crash coming, like a huge crash or a bubble popping of some kind. 3/4 of them, they need your input more than ever. They don't need you to talk them into buying or selling a home.
No.
They need your input. They need you to be a trusted real estate advisor. They need you to have knowledge and information like this, because next year, when they didn't pull the trigger and they come to you and you said, oh, if only I had known. You did. I told you. We had that conversation. We talked about that. You gave them that information. It's ultimately their decision, but you need to be that trusted real estate advisor to have those conversations. Another stats here. At the height of the bubble in 2006, builders were constructing and building too many houses. And in return, this led to an oversupply of homes on the market. But with record low inventory sweeping cities in 2022, oversupply is certainly not our issue right now. So even considering new construction, we have the supply chain is making it difficult to catch up. Every year for the last 10 years, the builders have not built enough homes every year to catch up with the amount of inventory that we lost from the crash of 2008 into 2012. So those 4 years where they were not building, were not selling, were not doing a ton of anything, every year, the last 10 years, they have not even come close to building enough each year to try and catch up with the loss that we had in 4 years, which is why we're lagging behind now. In 2008, when the market crashed, we had a 6-month supply of homes. 6-month supply of homes. There were plenty of homes on the market, and there were plenty of buyers out there willing to buy them. So it was not supply and demand driving prices. It was unqualified buyers, predatory type loans, unqualified loans, interest rates, people getting and buying homes that shouldn't, buying multiple homes. There's a lot of issues that created. There's a ton more that were into that, but that's just the basic side of the supply and demand part of inventory. So understand now, builders have built more this year than they have last year, but it's still nowhere even close to what they need to build, which is why we still see inventory sitting the way that it is. We still see the issues with inventory. And the bigger problem is the amount of demand. Last Wednesday, I showed a stat. It was like we sold 6.2 million homes last year. That's the most in history ever. It was like 5.6 the year before. It was 5.1 or 2 the year before that. 6.2 is the most ever in history. How do you sell more homes than you ever have ever and not have inventory to sell? If I don't have shoes to sell, I'm never going to sell the most amount of shoes I've ever sold in history. If I don't have them, it's not the fact that there's no homes to sell. The homes are there available to sell. They're just selling that quickly. So there are homes to sell. There's just a demand issue, which we'll talk about in a little bit about why the demand is even higher with the first-time buyers and the buyers that are coming into market. So even though the report called the current housing market abnormal, authors concluded that there is no expectation that fallout from a housing correction would be comparable to 2007 or 2009 in terms of magnitude. These are from Fannie Mae economists. These are from government economists, other economists. I know I'm from the government and I'm here to help. I know it. Okay. But these are economists that are talking about the market and what's going on. They're saying the magnitude, even if things did change, would be nowhere near that because the situations that are going on around us are nowhere near what they were. Can you go to the next page, please? Thank you, Vanna White. This is what we're talking about. Millennial demand for housing is up with the Gen Zs right behind it. Who are the millennials? Right. The 30, like late 20s to like late 30s, early 40s. That's the edge right there. The 41s, 42s are the edge. But the 30s, who are the Gen Zs? One's right behind them. The 20s, right? When you start looking at those, little Gen Z over here in the corner. So what are they saying about them? Americans who are either millennial aged or younger making up half of the US population. So the Gen Zs and the millennials are half of the population, half the US population, all right? Now think about that. If the average life expectancy right now is like in the low 80s, it's 80 years old, and the half of the population is in the 20s and 30s, that's a pretty good number. It's slightly skewed towards their generation. So this is significant because first-time home buyers represent the largest share of people that are buying homes. 31% of all sales were first-time home buyers last year. So if 31% of them were first-time home buyers and the largest portion of our population are Gen Z and millennials in the 20s and 30s buying their first homes, what does that mean? It means demand's not going to change very quickly. You're going to have children, kids, families, starting jobs, buying homes. And with interest rates as low as they were, it gave them a little bit of a boost. The millennials went through the real estate crash before they owned homes. So they were skewed by that. Their mentality is, no, don't buy a home. Don't do it. I saw what my mom went through. I saw the divorce it caused. I saw all the problems. I saw the fights. I saw the money. I saw what happened. I saw the broken down houses and all that. I don't do it. So they didn't. But now they're getting back into the market because of interest rates. Because of that, they're starting to get back in. And those are the ones in the 30s. So they were slow to do it, but they're jumping in now. And then you see, how many of you have a TikTok account? I know more of you do. Raise your damn hands.
Sorry.
If you have TikTok, how many times do you see someone on there talking about housing or their Airbnb hack or their, this is how you buy a home, or let me show you. You see a ton of people that, and most of them are Gen Zs and millennials, putting out videos like that, talking to other people about some of the benefits of buying or some of the ways you can get into a home. Let me show you this hack of how you can get a home for 3% down. It's not a hack. It's been around forever. You can do it, but they're out there. They're getting more active in it. So that's why demand is not going to slow down, because the largest portion of our population is starting to buy, and 31% of all sales were first-time home buyers, and that number should increase. We won't see a downturn because the housing market saw a little increase in inventory for the past 10 years, which we talked about. In a few years, the Gen Z is turning 30 and more financially ready to become homeowners that millennials were at their age. So this means the demand for homes will be as high, if not higher, while inventory will still be behind in demand. Can't talk. Does that make sense? Yes? Makes sense.
Say that 5 times faster again, though.
Blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
So demand still high. Inventory still not able to produce as much. We're still catching up for the last 10 years that we haven't been able to catch up for. What does that spell? Even if things shift and change, we are still going to experience some of these problems, which is still going to drive some of the prices, still going to drive some of the market that we're seeing, just not as complex, complicated, and competitive. Not quite as much. Supply can't keep up with demand. The supply-demand imbalance is the primary reason for home prices have escalated so rapidly. That's A very true statement. That's the biggest reason why it has increased so rapidly. There's no other reason. We don't have enough homes. Interest rates were really low, causing a lot of buyers to be in high demand, along with all the other issues that came into play, causing them to move, want to move, upgrade. I could afford more home now than I ever could. Why not go for that home? Move from different states where pricing and everything was crazy, coming here where it's more affordable. It's driving a lot of issues here. It's driving a lot of the pricing concerns. It's driving a lot of the home values. That's supply and demand is the biggest issue that we were running into. It's a helpful sign that new home construction climbed at an annual rate of 6.8% in February, the fastest since 2006. But the nearly 1.8 million new homes are unlikely to put a dent in home prices. Again, so homes, they're building more homes than they have, but it's still nowhere near enough. They're going to continue to put homes in the market, but we're still playing catch up. And every time they put new homes in the ground, they run into supply chain shortage issues, causing that to slow down and not able to produce the homes at the same rate that they want to, even though they're starting them. They monitor new home starts. You don't see a lot of new home finishes. All the stats they talk about are new home starts. So new home starts are typically 6 to 8 months. Right now, 8 to 12, 8 to 14 months. So anything they start now might not affect us till next year. That's what's really creating a lot of these issues. The supply and demand is a very, very big thing. Next, borrowers are less likely to default on their mortgages. Is this true?
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I completely agree that the borrowers are less likely to default on their mortgages. Those approved for a mortgage nowadays are less likely to default than those who were approved pre-crisis. $1 trillion in new mortgage originations in the fourth quarter of 2021, with 67% of those
Wow.
mortgages going to borrowers with a 760 credit score or higher.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy. Pretty amazing that 67% of the borrowers had a 760 credit score or higher. That makes me feel good about the loans that were being written in the fourth quarter last year. So you're not seeing these huge shifts towards, even though the loans are available, if you get one, you either have a damn good amount of money and you're going to have equity, or you're qualified for it. You have good credit and you have good income as well. One of the issues was people were buying homes in 2006 and they didn't have equity. If you buy a home and don't have equity, if you run into an issue and you have an adjustable interest rate that goes up, so your interest rate goes up, your payment goes up, and you can't sell to get out of it. What can nearly any homeowner do now that buys a home 3 months after they buy it? What can anyone
make money
do?
off of it? Sell it and make money.
Sell it and make money. You see slight differences. So these are the thoughts and the sentences and just the ideas that I want you to empower yourself with. So that's why it's not as crazy. Even if the market continues to appreciate at 10%, 7 to 10%, like they're saying, at 10%, they will still be able to. How much does it cost to sell a home? About 8-ish. It can be close to 10, depending on if you fix the home up, do some work, renovations, costs, other costs that come in. So say 8%, 6% in fees, 2% in closing costs. So 8%. If the market increases at 10% over year, and you have to earn 8% to sell your home and break even. So within 6 months to a year, you should be able to break even if you bought your home, even with 10% appreciation. Okay. That's why it's not as crazy as it was before. And you already are going to have equity in that home. For if you buy one now, you're already going to have equity because the market is appreciating much faster now. It's just going to slow down. Okay. So just keep those things in mind. Go to the next one. Will there be a lot of foreclosures? How many of you, raise your hand if you've heard, I'm just going to wait for foreclosures?
Yeah. All the
I'm
time.
just going to wait for the foreclosures. Why is that a problem?
Where are they at?
They're not going to happen. What did we just talk about with borrowers being qualified? Well qualified, overqualified, more than qualified. But what about, they told me we have the most amount of foreclosures this past year than we had the year before. It was up like 26%.
But it was lower last year too.
It's because we
didn't
only
have
had
any.
2 or 3% the year before.
COVID didn't even let them.
And if you only have 2 or 3% foreclosure rate the year before, and the normal is between 12 and 14%, and you increase by 25%, what does that really mean? If you had let's just make an easy number, 4% foreclosures, 4% foreclosure rate, which it was not, it was lower than that. and you have a 25% increase over that.
1%.
You had a 1% increase. So we only had 5% foreclosures last year. But what did they say? Foreclosures up 26%. Right? You have to be able to read into these things and understand them when you're talking to people. So if normal foreclosure rates get back to, 8, 10, 12, 14%, yes, that's still normal. That's average. That's normal. Right now, we are not seeing that. We're still seeing, I don't know if the number is in there, what it is, but I think it's only 4 or 5%, maybe 6 at most. So the nation started seeing a huge jump in foreclosure activity toward the end of last year, but the numbers are still much lower than pre-pandemic levels, much lower than pre-pandemic levels. In fact, foreclosures hit an all-time low, down 30% from the year before. A huge increase in them, but it's still hit an all-time low. Why don't you see that in headlines? Why is that always the second or third paragraph? They lead with foreclosures up 26% this year. They forget to tell you that last year was a pandemic, and guess what? You can't foreclose. Okay, well, that makes sense why they're up at all, because now you can. And that was in the fourth quarter of last year when they were able to start doing that. Don't forget the huge jump in foreclosures was due to the previous year ban. Okay, when demand is satisfied, prices fall. Make sense? Right? When the demand is no longer there because we were able to produce enough homes and provide enough product for someone to buy, the prices will start to fall, right? Everybody shake your head. Supply, demand. If you can't find what you want, the minute that you find it, it's simple. Pre-pandemic, pandemic, couldn't go to the gym, right? Gym's closed. I use fitness a lot because that's what I do. I live for it a lot. So you couldn't go to the gym. I don't have any home gym stuff. I tried to look for some of the Bowflex dumbbells. Guess how much they typically are? Typically $200, $200 to $300. Guess how much they were selling them for? $600 to $1,200. Supply, demand. Simple. Now think of housing. We do not have enough homes being produced for the amount of buyers that are out there. And the normal prices were 300,000. Now they're creeping up to 400. The average, the median list price across the nation rose, list price, not sale price, rose over 400,000 for the first time ever because of supply and demand. So when demand is satisfied, prices will fall. In many housing markets, there's an extreme demand for properties at the moment, and there simply aren't enough homes to sell to the prospective buyers. Home construction has been increasing in recent years, but they are far behind to catch up. Thus, to see the significant declines in home prices, we would need to see significant declines in buyer demand, which is why they're trying to raise the interest rates. They're trying to raise them and hoping that the buyer demand will slow up, which it will, but the supply that we have is so low that it's not affecting it as much. We're only losing a small portion of buyers due to the increase. And think of this, in the previous crash, people still bought and sold, didn't they? How many home sales happened before the crash? Just over 5 million. How many happened 2008 when it crashed? No, when the market crashed, how many happened in there? Like 4.5. We didn't lose a ton of home sales. It wasn't like we went from 5 million home sales down to 2 million home sales. We didn't even lose 25% of the sales. It was a drop down to like 4.4, 4.5 million home sales. So we didn't lose a ton of sales. Okay, so what we did lose is a ton of realtors because they don't know how to compete in a market like that. They don't know how to express things like this and talk about things like this to consumers and make them feel confident and comfortable making a decision that they have to make. Some people have to buy, some people have to sell, no matter what happens. So don't worry about what's going on out there. There's people that have to buy and people that have to sell. Did the president affect your real estate business this past year? No, I don't think so. Did the pandemic really affect your real estate business this past year? No. Did what's going on in Ukraine affect your business this past year? No. What goes on around you is not going to affect your business. The activities inside the market will be dictated by the activities of the agent in that market. If you work, you will still sell homes. In the crash, before was 5 million home sales down to just over 4. But we lost a ton of agents, which means every agent in the business got a raise because the average amount of homes sold by a realtor went up during the crash because we had less agents in the market. So be one of those agents who sticks around, gets your mentality in place, understand what's going on, read those things. You don't have to predict the future. You just have to be able to speak with a tone and with an attitude about what's out there. Well, this is what I'm hearing. I tell people all the time, I just use that statement. You hear me say it a lot. My crystal ball is broken. And I start off everything with that. My crystal ball is broken. But everything that I'm seeing is pointing towards this. This is what we're seeing here, here, here. But what about this? Okay, well, I can understand why you would hear that. But did you read a little further down that article where it said something to the effect of this? Well, no, you just read the headline, right? Yeah. And then all the comments about everybody commenting it about how it affected them and everything like that. That's all you read. But if you read further down in that, the majority of people are not seeing those same things. With real estate pace at last year appears to be reverting to seasonality as we approach 2022. Seasonality, normal fluctuations. So it's not going to be just straight up like that. So sellers remain in an advantageous position. Price stability and continuation of competitive interest rates may provide some much needed relief to buyers this year. Housing supply is and will likely remain a challenge for some time as labor and material shortages, as well as general supply chain issues. There's people anticipating 2023 or 2024 before they get the inventory and supply chain sorted out. Even if crazy things happen, interest rates keep going up, do you understand the amount of homes that they're going to have to build and put out there for it to really have an effect on the market and really affect the supply? It's a ton. They just did 1 point some million in just in the fourth quarter, and it wasn't enough in one quarter. It's a lot of homes they have to put out. And consider this, if interest rates go up, what do most sellers start thinking that they are not going to do, no matter how much equity they have? Most. They're not going to sell. If I live in my home, if I have a $500,000 home and I've got a ton of equity, it doubled in value over the last year and a half, but the interest rates went up. I've got a 2.6% interest rate. If I went to buy right now, it would be 5.5%, 3% increase. Why would I do that? I'm not going to sell my home here with that interest rate to go buy another one. What I might do is leverage where I'm at and rent this property out because of the way it changed, put more money in my pocket that will cover the difference. And at that point, I don't care because I'm going to get rental income off of this that will more than make up the increase in the interest rate that I'm going to have to pay on the next home. So I'm going to get into the same home that I really want and make a similar payment on that by renting this property out. Those are the conversations you should be having with some people. You go to the next page.
Yes, sir.
This is just a projection for year over year, May 22 going into January 2023. If you look on the left-hand side, what you see is the year over year appreciation, 0 to 22%. So in May of 2022, going into June, they're still anticipating it to go up into the next month or so. They're anticipating that appreciation to go up 20, 22, 21, 22% over the next month or so, still going up. But after that, they're anticipating the appreciation to slow down. And where do they have it in January 2023? 16 to 18%.
Wow.
The average was 17. That's where this one still has it. Everyone else projecting probably 10, 12%. Some were projecting 7.6% appreciation. But this is just one source just showing year over year appreciation and what they're projecting and what they're anticipating.
Can we click on that link?
No, you have to click on that one. We're going to wrap up real quick here. Median list price, 405 in March of 2022. List price, not sale. The median sale price was like 376 in that range. That's pretty crazy. That's a 26.5% increase over 2 years. Pretty nuts. Yeah, that's a national number for the month of March. The median list price was 405. List price. 77% of home buyers believe there's a bubble where they live. 77%. We can lower that number by becoming advocates for our community and advocates for this business and advocates for what you believe and what you think. And if you think there's a bubble coming, that's fine. You have every right to think and feel that way, but it may affect the way that you do business. And whether there's a crash or a bubble coming or not, there's still going to be homes that need to sell and buyers that need to buy. So, and if you are a real estate professional, you need to be the person that is arming yourself with the ability to do that. No matter what happens, you need to do that. It doesn't matter what's going on around you. It's just going to be dictated by your actions. A lot of reasons why it seems like a bubble, but at its heart, the issue is simple. Supply and demand driving up prices. There's not enough homes for everybody who wants one. I took these from multiple different articles and I tried to get a wide spectrum. Of all the ones that I looked at when I was looking through different articles, Florida Realtors, there's only one that was complete doom and gloom. It was get out now, the world's going to end, asteroids, dinosaur, this crazy stuff. Like there's only one that was all doom and gloom. All the other ones were projecting slow with a slowdown, some quicker than others, but they're all projecting the rest of this year to begin to slow, appreciation slowing, and into next year, still with good growth, but slowing a little more. 2024 getting to more of a potential balance. Limited supply of new homes is due to factors both old and new. Last decade, builders haven't put up houses. We've already talked about that. And here's some of the reasons why. Labor. Builders are having a hard time finding skilled workers, particularly in hot markets such as Texas, Tampa, Phoenix, a lot of places like that. Lots. There's about a year's supply of lots available when the market needs 2 to 3 years. So if we only have 1 year supply of lots available on the market and we need 2 to 3 to be able to build enough homes to get out there, we don't have enough land that's available. They're still trying to basically create the land by going and finding purchases to do that. Lending. Home builders, especially the smaller companies, face a tighter market for borrowing the money needed to build. Lumber and building materials. Lumber prices were about $350 per 1,000 board feet in January 2020. That's about $1,300 now. 2020, before the pandemic, it's went up by 4 times. And it was up higher than that before. Last year it was up higher than that. So it's come down some, which is why there was a lot of issues before. You saw one builder, D.R. Horton, went and they started building steel studs inside their homes because wood prices just got so crazy. And for a same price or a little better, they could get the supply quicker and build it all the same. And it's a much more quality home. Lumber shortages, delays, and things like garage doors, microwaves. Anybody try to buy a microwave or an appliance recently? Yeah. How was that experience? Took months. I looked everywhere. And when I went to Lowe's, I have a rental property. I needed a microwave for it. I went to Lowe's to try and find one. And they had nothing available. I had to go from one to the next, to the next, to the next. All they had were like the $500, $600 microwaves that where you can just take flour, eggs, and milk and throw it in the microwave, push a button, it makes you a cake. Like that's the only one they had available. That's the only thing you could buy. And I finally went to one of them and the guy goes, well, I got a truck that just came in now, but I got one it's being held, but I got a truck, should have a couple more on it. I should, but I can't be positive. And he walks back out and hands me, he goes, the guy that's supposed to pick it up will have to wait. I was like, don't do that. He goes, no, I'm pretty sure there's one on the truck. Thank you. But that was just a normal microwave that should have been $160 to $180 was $260. Yep. And that was just normal. Windows are 6 months and it'll probably be more than that. I'm not trying to, it's probably going to be more. We had a brand new build in Tampa that we were doing and windows were what was holding us up. We were supposed to be done with it by August of last year. It didn't finish until close to December. Actually, no, it was almost it was January, February. We just closed on it 2 months ago. It was supposed to be done in August and we didn't get done till then because the windows were the thing delaying it. Laws and regulations. Zoning can limit how many homes can be built in a certain amount of space. There's some blessings and curses with that. The county, our county in this area basically said, do what you want, go for it. You want to put some, go ahead. You think you could fit 500 homes in there? Well, zoning says 200, but go ahead. Zoning pretty much, the county literally just said, go ahead, go forth, do what you would like. Now they're putting some moratoriums in place, but it's not going to affect anything that's happening immediately because everything they're building now was approved a year ago. Everything they're doing now was approved in the last 6 months to a year. So whatever they're putting in place to stop and make sure they go through different approvals is going to stop anything from here moving forward, which will slow down the amount of builds they can get out there, which is going to hurt the supply that we have and keep the demand up. And we don't have enough homes for the demand already, and it's going to slow that down. Do you see why potentially this is nothing that's going to be going away anytime soon. There's a survey right here. Just a point of conversation. 79% of homeowner surveys said they would rather renovate their home than buy a new one right now. That was recent in the last couple of months. So we're well into our time, so we don't want to go any further. I'll just kind of cut it off there. Just want to let you guys know. I just wanted to get some talking points. Craig sent out that Zillow article that he talked about on the meeting. Use it. There's a lot of great stats in there. I'll send these out to you as well. Craig sent that out. It takes a lot of this stuff and puts it into one line bullet points. And then there's some other talking points here. I'll send this out to you. These are great things for you to, like I said, pick one. I'm going to address the supply and demand. I'm going to address interest rates. I'm going to straight on just address the crash. I'm going to address appreciation. Figure out what you want to become a little bit more of a master about that you can articulate very clearly. That way you can have some more educated conversations other than, yeah, the market's crazy. Oh my God, it's so crazy. I don't know what I'm going to do. My seller put their home on the market and sold it. I sold a home in 24 hours. And yeah, that's not what we need to be doing. You need to be the person that people looked at. If I saw somebody doing that, I'll date myself a little bit. Anybody, or if you're from the Northeast, you would have seen this. Anybody know Crazy Eddie? There's a commercial. Crazy Eddie's. It was like an appliance or an electronics store, like a Radio Shack type thing. Yeah, it's in Pennsylvania. Crazy Eddie, and he's just all nuts, and he's just going crazy. And every time I hear somebody say the market's crazy, that's initially what I think of. That's what I picture, and that's how I picture you saying to your people, "It's crazy." So, anyway, that's all. Hope you guys have a great Tuesday. Let's wind down the month of April really solid, really strong. If you need anything.
I can actually say something. Is it good? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
No. Just a couple things coming up. Friday, Sun City at 11:30 from 11:30 to 1. Moxie training. We'll be going to our website. Pretty much everything thank you, first of all, for everybody that has filled out the survey to give me insight on what you want to learn more about. So thank you so much for that. So 11:30 to 1 in Sun City on Friday. If you can't make that, and you want to come to Madeira Beach between 11 and 12 tomorrow, I will be there. And then definitely jump on the meeting on Thursday morning with Craig and I, because I'm going to show some cool little things.
Is anybody want information on RSP? If anybody looking to do any RSP? If you want information, South Tampa's having Colin come into their office on Wednesday.
Yeah.
At 9:30. So you can go to the South Tampa office at 9:30. It's in person. So if you want some more information, head over to South Tampa at 9:30 on Wednesday. That's it. Tell us about the listing you got coming.
You got to talk into the mic. Put it like right up there.
Joe Aletto here. This would have been listed already, but I was over there yesterday and we need to do some painting first, but it's a townhome in Magnolia Park up off of Falkenberg. 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 1,280 square feet. One next door is under contract. I'm not sure what the price is. The listing price was $270. So we're probably going to list somewhere in that vicinity. If you have an interest, you can go see it before we put it in MLS. Let me know.
So
you said no garage on that, right? Sorry.
Go ahead.
You said no garage on that, or is there garage on that?
Garage.
Okay.
You got a buyer looking for a townhome, Magnolia Park, 2010, 12, or is it just before
I
that?
think that was an 8.
2008. It was one of the two.
Granite top.
So 2008 build, townhome, price wise again, 270. Don't see a lot at that price.
Nope.
Jackie, tell me about one of the 12 listings you have coming.
There's 5 new listings.
Get that a little closer.
I have 5 new listings coming, but right
Okay.
now only one of them's on, so I'm going to talk about that one. It's 10925 Purple Martin. It is in Oaks of Shady Creek off of 301. It is a really nice subdivision. There's an $85 a month fee for the HOA, but that is your lawn maintenance and your trash not water, but trash removal. So $85 a month to mow your lawn for you, basically, so you don't have to worry about that. It does have a community pool, and this is a Lennar home on steroids. The people that bought it, she was a realtor, And they put so much money into this house. They redid every single thing. It's actually built in 2017, but they decided they wanted to revamp the entire inside of the house, and it has been. It's gorgeous. It's tile and carpet. It is 5 bedrooms, 3.5 baths. There are 2 laundry rooms, one downstairs and one upstairs, because the master is downstairs. So they put in another laundry room in the downstairs so they didn't have to walk up the stairs to use the laundry.
Does it have a pool?
It does have a beautiful pool.
I was gonna say there's an extra half bath outside for
There's an extra house out there. But no, there's a half bath downstairs as
Mhm.
well. So there's 1.5 down and then the other 2 are up. It has a bonus room that is 20 by 18. My clients built a movie theater in that room. There are 6 movie theater chairs that could be negotiated. And it's just an absolutely gorgeous home. It's going to be listed at 600,
How big again?
3850.
3850 square foot, 5 bedrooms with a ton of bathrooms, bonus room, theater, pool. Pretty awesome. 2017 build. You can't, how much are the brand new Lennars that are like 3,800, 4,000 square feet selling for in and around Riverview? Do you know?
Way more than that.
Yeah, so
I
they're-
don't know.
They're going to be in a similar price for a Lennar home. And then when you add a pool, the exact completely basic,
Not
and a
basic
pool's
at
going to
all.
cost you right now 80 to 100 grand. You can't, it's really tough to get a pool for less than about 70 or 80 grand right now.
That pool was $100,000.
Yep.
It has a swim shelf with a little fountain off of the swim shelf. So when you're hot, you can just go and sit down in the water and be sprayed by your lovely fountain.
Cool.
And it is fenced as well.
Nice. Great property. Good. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. Have a great Tuesday.